Hi team, this is Wellness 52, brought to you by the 514th Airmen and Family Readiness Center. I'm Sergeant DeRosa. This month's topic is effective verbal communication for workplace and military success. Communication is one of, if not the most important soft skills in your toolbox. On an everyday basis, we encounter opportunities to inform, persuade, or direct others. And that's why it's critical to develop strong communication skills, both as a sender of a message and a receiver or recipient of a message. And today we're going to talk about some of the barriers to communication, some of the skills you should be developing as a sender as well as a receiver, and specifically as it relates to interviews and public speaking. Thanks very much for joining us today. Let's start with the definition of communication. It's the act of transferring information, ideas, or feelings from one place, person, or group to another. There are three parts. Sender, that's the individual who encodes the message using words and nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication means body language. It means visual props and displays. The message, the actual content that's being delivered and transmitted. The receiver is the individuals who decode the message and give feedback to the sender. Three categories: verbal communication, that's your face-to-face interaction, telephone, radio, other means. Nonverbal communication, again, body language, gestures, dress and appearance. Written communication, letters, email, social media, books, etc. Let's start with a quick video.
Das hier ist mein Sektor. Das hier ist das wichtigste Gerät des Küstenwächter. Das Gerät und das Gerät. Überlebensradar.
Mayday, mayday. Hello, can you hear us? Can you hear us? Can you... Over. We are sinking. We are sinking.
Hello? This is the German Coast Guard.
We are sinking. We're sinking.
What are you thinking about?
Well, hopefully we don't need to improve our English communication skills. The point is that language is a very often, it's a barrier to communication, not just culturally, but more specifically, and as it relates to us, it may be terminology, meaning of words. Say, for example, have you ever been in a briefing where the speaker's using acronyms and you have no idea what they mean? Or just complex words or jargon that just really, it makes it difficult to understand the message that's being communicated. That's why as a sender of a communication message, it's important to simplify and clarify your message, as well as to understand the knowledge and expertise level of your audience. That way you can tailor your script or presentation, or just speaking in general, to your audience, and they can more easily understand the point you're trying to get across. Communication is important for business or work because you're frequently interacting with clients, customers, your colleagues, there's team meetings, there's requests for information, you're giving feedback, you're receiving feedback, you're discussing problems, you're discussing process improvement initiatives. It's also a way to command respect from your colleagues. It builds strong rapport within the culture of the firm. It helps you deal with unexpected crisis because you're able to better or more clearly and quickly and urgently communicate your action plan to the team. In employer surveys, oral communication skills consistently rank amongst the top soft skills companies look for. You've always seen a job advertisement, and one of the first things they say is strong written or oral communication skills. They want employees to be able to speak clearly, concisely, and confidently. And as it relates to the military, same thing. Your ability to communicate clearly, to get your intent and ideas across so that others understand your message and act on it. It's one of the primary qualities of leadership, especially as you rise up to NCO and senior NCO tiers. Your success as a leader really depends on your ability to think critically and creatively and communicate your intentions and decisions to others so that mission can be accomplished. Some of the characteristics of effective communicators: active listening skills. So as a recipient of a communication message, you want to pay attention, want to actively listen to what the person's telling you. Oftentimes, we're thinking of our response before fully absorbing the message that's being shared. Adapting. Adapting your communication style to the situation. If you're the one sending the message, is the situation an emergency situation? Then you're probably going to be more direct and not allow much feedback. Versus a situation where time is not of the essence and you have more freedom for a two-way dialogue. Confidence, clarity, brevity, and assertiveness. Those are all very important. It's important to have confidence so that you have credibility from your audience. It's important to be concise in what you're trying to say and simple. It's better to make things simple than to overcomplicate them. Constructive feedback, giving feedback and receiving it. Emotional intelligence, your ability to manage your own emotions, keeping your emotions out of the situation, and also your ability to relate and to understand the emotions of others. Interpersonal skills, that's your ability to develop rapport with your colleagues, your fellow wingmen. Social skills in terms of relationships and interactions. Body language, this will help you understand how someone is feeling. Visually identifying some positive or negative body language may help you shift or adjust your message. Being open-minded, of course, to new ideas. Patience, simplifying the complex. Again, as I mentioned, don't overcomplicate things. It's better to keep things simple so that way there's no misunderstanding. Storytelling, just is a good way for people to understand something by giving them a visual image. Helps reinforce your idea or message. Some of the communication barriers as it relates to being a sender. Insufficient planning. Preparation is everything, especially if you're going to give a briefing or presentation. No purpose for the communication. You should have a single point of your message. There shouldn't be too many things going on. You should have a main topic and really focus on that idea. Lack of knowledge about the receiver. Again, this goes to understanding your audience and tailoring your message to their level of expertise and knowledge. A negative attitude or lack of interest towards the message. It's important to be positive and enthusiastic. Inappropriate choice of communication channel or medium, depending on the situation and your audience as well. You want to adjust your communication channel or medium. Use of idioms, phrases, jargons, or slangs. Again, keep things simple. Leave those things for your English papers. Inability to decide the proper timing for communicating the message. If you want to recognize someone, it's more to do it, soon. Like, don't wait 3 months after the incident occurred. That's just an example of communicating a message with proper timing. Lack of concern for feedback from the receiver. Again, be open. If time is available, be open to feedback. How to improve verbal communication. First, think, breathe, and speak. Don't just say the first thing that comes to mind. Think about the point you're trying to get across. Concentrate on the message and what you want the receiver to understand. Use positive visualization techniques. Athletes use these all the time. Imagine success, right? Visualize the audience looking engaged, interested, impressed. Think, and it doesn't have to, think back to a positive experience that made you feel really good. And it doesn't have to be a specific experience as it relates to communication. It can be just like a personal accomplishment at work, or passing your CDCs, or scoring 90 plus on your fitness test. It's just a time in your life when you felt really good and confident. Know your audience. Again, this is so critical. That's why it's mentioned multiple times. Tell your message to their demographic and shared characteristics. What is their level of knowledge and expertise? Some of the communication barriers as it relates to being a receiver. Poor listening skills, right? Not paying attention. Language differences, as we saw in the video. Distractions, environmental distractions. Is it noisy? Is the room too hot or too cold? Mistrust in that the sender has poor credibility, right? They don't trust the sender of the message. So as a sender, you're supposed to, or it's good to establish your credibility. If you don't have it, in your title or position, show the receiver that you know what you're talking about. Emotions, You can't act rationally when you're emotional. Lack of interest in the subject matter, insufficient feedback, premature evaluation. Basically, being judgmental, or opinionated, not really willing to budge, not being open-minded. How can you improve your verbal communication skills? Continued. As a receiver, you want to pay attention. Look directly at the speaker and maintain eye contact. Show respect. How many times have you been in briefing where someone's looking down, they're half asleep, or they're on their phone? Please show respect for the speaker. And not just in large briefings, but one-on-ones as well. Look them in the eye. Be present. Don't think about your reply before absorbing the sender's complete message. This happens so often. It's all about active listening. Interpret their body language and yours as well. Maintain proper body language. Avoid being distracted by what's around you. Focus. Show the speaker you're interested. You can use body language like nodding and smiling, using prompts. Don't interrupt or redirect the conversation. It should be mutual respect and understanding that, each person has something they'd like to say. Be respectful and let them get their full statement out before you proceed. Also, it's great to clarify your understanding through paraphrasing in your own words what the message is. And if you need clarification, just ask. As I mentioned earlier, body language is so critical. Actually, 55% of a conversation is body language, 38% is tone of voice, and only 7% is actual words. And this is based on studies. What you don't say is just as important as what you say. Angle your body towards this person you're speaking to. Maintain eye contact. Smile when appropriate. Don't fold your arms. Stand or sit up straight. Don't play with your hair, jewelry, or clothing. And as it relates to interviews, body language is very critical because you're going to be talking, but the interviewer is probably going to be talking a lot too, right? So maintain proper body language at all times. That means demonstrating confidence through, standing straight, sitting straight, making eye contact. Of course, being in the military, standing when the person enters the room, firm handshake, no touching of your hair, or fiddling your thumbs. Listen actively. Don't feel pressure to answer immediately. Interviewer asks you a question, take a time, absorb the question. If you need clarification, ask for clarification. Think about it. Don't rush to answer. Especially now, a lot of it is behavioral questions where they'll ask you about a situation and you'll have to, to use the STAR method. They'll say, explain a situation when you encounter a problem or a problem at work or had to work on a team. You want to use the STAR method. That means explain the situation, your individual task, and your accomplishment, and what were the results. Match your communication style to the interviewer. Now, this is another thing. Some interviews, the person's very formal and rigid in all business. Other interviews, you might encounter an interviewer that is a little bit more relaxed, kind of, a little lighthearted, more friendly, funny, perhaps. Of course, it's good to kind of match your style to the interviewers, but don't go overboard. Don't go too informal or too friendly. It's still an interview. But lighten up if they allow it, then of course, be yourself at all times, but just know. Don't talk too much. Keep your answers concise and to the point. If they say usually first question is tell me about yourself or explain your resume, don't spend 10 minutes going through your entire career history. You want to focus and keep it to 1 to 2 minutes. You should have an elevator pitch that kind of explains, where you are and where you're going and kind of what are the points of differentiation and what kind of makes you an attractive candidate. What do you bring to the table? All in this short little 30 second to 1 minute script. Well, not a script. It shouldn't sound too scripted, but Avoid jargon and acronyms, same thing. Speak simply and coherently is the best way to establish rapport. In terms of public speaking, preparation again is everything, but and this is in no particular order, but the first thing you want to do is know your audience. What do they need and what do they want to know? What are their knowledge and expertise level? How much do you need to educate them about the particular topic, right? Are you able just to dive right in because they have that knowledge base? If not, you might have to do some preliminary, education to kind of get them in the know before you dig deeper into the topic itself. In terms of preparation, practice and rehearsing is very important. Practice in front of a mirror, videotape yourself in front of family and friends. Know what you're going to say and how you're going to say it. How you're going to, if you're doing a presentation, understand all the slides, the order they're in. Now, when it comes to, the message, again, simplicity is better. Concentrate on your core message or key takeaway. What's the theme of your topic? When it comes to the actual process or execution, start strong. Grab the audience's attention and hold it through a story, through humor. Some of the things also, as we mentioned, using good body language, showing openness, confidence, maintaining eye contact, scanning the room. Don't look in just one spot. It helps to move around a little bit, depending on the formality, of course. Show your passion. Passion is everything. Enthusiasm, people really feel enthusiasm. And when you connect, with enthusiasm, the audience will feel that energy and they'll be more interested. They'll pay attention. It also helps to take advantage of your voice. Varying the pitch, speed, and tone helps to keep the audience's attention as well. Well, that wraps things up for today in terms of verbal communication. I hope some of this information was new. Like I mentioned, we're talking every day, whether we want to inform, persuade, or direct someone, or just to establish rapport with people on a social level. It's important to have strong communication skills. Any questions about the topic today, please email me or any of the other topics we've covered through Wellness 52. And these slides are available on Google Drive. Please join the Wellness 52 GroupMe if you haven't already. Thank you very much, and I wish you a wonderful month of June.